The Tight Turns of Pimlico is up next on the 2024 Triple Crown Trail. Let's get a Preakness update as we move to the middle jewel of the Triple Crown. Of course, Old Hilltop, Baltimore. And it looks like right now we could have a 10-horse field. On today's update, we are going to take a look at the Brisnet speed figure progression and the days away. This just kind of gives you a look at some of the horses, how they come into the race on their speed figure patterns, which ones might get a new top. So let's take a look. Right now, we do have a 10-horse field led by the Arkansas Derby winner Moose, Imagination second in the Santa Anita Derby, and then you've got Mystic Dan, the Kentucky Derby winner, along with a couple of other runners still considering it from the Kentucky Derby. We've got Dwayne Lucas sending out Just Steel, and we'll find out officially over the weekend if Catching Freedom is going to join that Preakness field. But the field is starting to shape up and the speed figures. Now remember, if you're new to the Triple Crown Trail, like to go over some of these, the speed figures, it measures how fast a horse ran, and it accounts for the distance and the surface. And some speed figures also incorporate pace. The Brisnet scale basically is just the surface, the distance, and the class of the race. That's what we're going to take a look at in this show, is the Brisnet speed figures. Remember, speed figures are not predictive of future performances. They're more a reflection of what horses have done, and then from what they have done, people kind of start to look for patterns and see if horses are improving or declining based on their speed figure. Now remember, some of the terms you'll hear is a top. That's a career high speed figure. Then you'll hear a pair, and that's when they kind of have the same speed figure in back-to-back races. So 3-year-olds can improve. 3-year-olds improve up until about April, May, June. Then they kind of plateau, and then they improve again in the fall of their 3-year-old season. Remember, a lot of times horses don't reach their physical maximum capacity until really that summer of their 4-year-old season. That's where some of the 4-year-olds will turn in their career tops on speed figures. And horses can improve right up until about starts number 6 and 7. That's where you kind of start to see a little bit less improvement as well. Then they'll plateau at a certain number for 3-year-olds. So let's take a look at the speed figures for some of the Preakness starters. Now you're looking at Muth. Muth comes in off a 99. That is a 3-year-old top. I highlighted his 2 3-year-old performances in yellow. He did have a 105 to close out his 2-year-old campaign in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. So I think Muth could be cycling into a new career top in this race. Then you've got Just Steel. He took a big decline in the Kentucky Derby. He went from a 97 in the Arkansas Derby all the way down to a 61, and he's had a lot of races. So that's a type of horse that probably is not still improving. He's ran 10 times. He kind of cycled up to a new top in his 5th career race. Then he got up to a new top in his Arkansas Derby, but I don't think Just Steel on a 2-week turnaround and regressing in the Derby, you're probably looking at upper 80s to lower 90s for his best speed figure in the Preakness Stakes. Now, Uncle Heavy, he's kind of evened out. He's kind of paired up his speed figure in the Wood Memorial to the Withers. So he may be ready to jump up a little bit to a 94, 95. We'll have to see if that's good enough to win the Preakness. Then you've got Imagination, a career top in the Santa Anita Derby when he ran 2nd. But he's still lightly raced. He's only got 6 lifetime races. Took him a couple of races to break his maiden, but this is one that he kind of paired up his 93 and 92, then moved forward in the Santa Anita Derby to a 97. So we'll see if he goes back a little bit or if he can keep anywhere from a 90 to a 95 to a 97 by your Brisnet speed figure. Now, Mystic Dan, he had that big 101 in the Southwest Stakes. Then he regressed in the Arkansas Derby. Then he jumped forward in the Kentucky Derby with a 97. But overall, that speed figure did not come back very high on the Brisnet scale. A lot of times your Kentucky Derby winners are in the upper 90s or in that lower 100s. So Mystic Dan, with not the best Brisnet speed figure in the Kentucky Derby, he won it with a 97. Catching Freedom regressed from his Louisiana Derby, so I think he might be able to come back, but it'd be on a 2-week rest. So this will be the shortest time frame for both Mystic Dan and Catching Freedom on 14 days coming back here in the Preakness Stakes. Now, Tuscan Gold, he had a career high 98 in his third lifetime race in the Louisiana Derby. So I think he could pair that up. I think he's looking at 97, 98, 99 here. I expect a big performance out of Tuscan Gold, especially when I show you the days off pattern for Tuscan Gold. Copper Tax has kind of plateaued those last two races, and then Seize the Gray. You know, he's turning around on 14 days from the Pat Day Mile, but he did go from an 89 to a 92, but now he's got to go from a mile to a mile and 3/16. So I did want to show you the speed figures. Remember, in the Derby, not everybody runs the same fractions and they're fastest in the same points of the race. So Mystic Dan had a strong opening quarter, and then he had a strong half-mile fraction, 23.39. Now, the fastest horse at the third call was Sierra Leone. He ran a 23.63, and then the fastest from the 3/4 to the mile was Sierra Leone, along with Forever Young. Those two horses really made their move, going from that 3/4 to that 1 mile mark, and then making up ground in the second half of the race. So kind of interesting. Catching Freedom overall ran kind of an even race, although his third split was pretty solid from a 24.07 for that quarter mile. So that is a look at some of the splits in the Kentucky Derby. Now, days away, 40 to 55 days away, that's when horses get their maximum effort. Horses can bounce if they return too soon after running a big effort. So that's what we're looking at here with maybe Mystic Dan and Catching Freedom. We have to see if they regress, because they're turning around very quickly on that 2-week turnaround. Also, trainers like to get that 40 to 60 days, because if they get a career top, they might regress. And if they can get that, they can kind of work them back into shape to get another career top. So again, some horses can run big numbers when they have enough time between races, but on 14 days rest, that's going to be kind of a mystery for Mystic Dan and Catching Freedom. Now, all horses are a little bit different. So again, just trying to show you some patterns, give you something to think about as you look at these Preakness Stakes starters. But you've got 14-day turnaround for Catching Freedom. Now, Imagination, he had a big effort last time around, but he's got 42 days off after that. So I think he might be able to get another big effort. And then Muth, he had a big effort, 99 the last time, but now he's had 49 days off. So I think his third off a layoff and 49 days off, Muth is probably going to run a big race on the Preakness. You've got Tuscan Gold, 56 days. And he had a career top last race. That was only his third lifetime start. I think Tuscan Gold, Imagination, and Muth are going to run new career tops or close to it in the Preakness Stakes. Again, the Preakness Stakes post positions will be drawn on Monday, May the 13th. You got the Preakness handicapping show. I'll do that next Wednesday. The Black Eyed Susan on May 17th, and then the Preakness Stakes on May 18th as we get you ready. So, with all of that in mind, with the Preakness speed figures, sign up for my Preakness tip sheet coming out on Preakness Day, a week from Saturday. And then speed figures. Who do you think is ready to break out in a big speed figure performance for the Preakness Stakes? Leave a comment. Remember, D. Wayne Lucas always says, people have opinions, horses have the facts.